Hey, this is Warren Redlick. A bit of a different topic today. I'm going to talk about robotaxi and how robotaxi might affect other companies. In particular, I want to talk about Uber and Lyft. I made a bet today and yesterday. I made some bets. I think Uber and Lyft are going to fail. And I'm going to talk about that today. Are you ready? Let's go. So, on this channel, I often talk about our robotaxi future and I talk about how positive that's going to be for Tesla and Tesla's profits. The other side of our robotaxi future and all technological change is there are winners and there are losers. There are sections of the economy that are going to be radically changed. When I look at Uber and Lyft, and I am an Uber and Lyft customer, I ride Uber. I think Uber and Lyft have been a very positive change for society. I think they have made our lives better. I just rode Uber in early January. I think they're great, but I think robotaxi is going to destroy them. The average price per mile that a person pays to ride an Uber and Lyft works out to around $2 to $2.50. Robotaxis are going to be priced well below that. And once robotaxis come in, we're going to see the price of their rides being significantly less than Uber and Lyft. And they will just obliterate Uber and Lyft once there's enough robotaxis out there. So you can look at all kinds of industries. You can say what's going to happen. There's a positive side. I think destinations like Disney are going to do really well once robotaxi lowers the cost of transportation. I've thought about investing in Disney because I think Disney's going to get a huge volume increase in guests and customers coming to Disney parks. So that's an example. How do you play the radical change robotaxi is going to deliver the world? And the positive way of playing it is buying stocks in companies that run resorts that people would like to travel to, that it's now easier to travel to. And Disney is an example of that. It's this, place. I live in South Florida. People want to go to Disney. So that's an example of a positive side. The other side is you can short bet against stocks that you think will do poorly. So that's the angle I'm looking at now, and I just don't see how Uber and Lyft survive the transition to robotaxi. And I think robotaxi's coming sometime within the next 2 years. And once robotaxi's in place, the writing's on the wall for Uber and Lyft. It's going to be obvious then. It's just a question of when it comes along. So I want to talk first about Uber and the issues with Uber. This is a chart of Uber's quarterly revenue, and the top up here is the trailing 12 months. You can see Uber has grown its revenue, and it's in the ballpark of a $14 billion a year revenue company. And it's growing. It is growing. Because of COVID, 2020 was a down year, but the long-term trend for Uber and Lyft have been up. They have been increasing the number of passengers, increasing the number of rides. Uber's increasing Uber Eats. All of that is going well in a sense. So that's a positive. There's some growth. 2020 was bad because of COVID, but it's likely that Uber will bounce back after 2020 into 2021. We'll see some increase in revenue. Profit is a much bigger problem for Uber. Uber loses money. This is Uber's earnings per share quarterly for the last 4 quarters and estimates from Wall Street or whoever for the next 4 quarters. And there's no short-term path for Uber to become profitable. Before I go further into this, I'd like to thank my Patreon supporters for all their support. Patreon supporters and my YouTube exclusive channel members as well. They get some early access to exclusive content. And I post things like about this video. I posted in advance what I was going to talk about and why it matters. And you end up with a conversation. So I don't see a path to profit for Uber. Right now, Uber is valued, it's in the ballpark of a $100 billion company with only $14 billion of revenue and losing money. The reason it's valued so high is because it's seen as a growth stock. There's a perception, for some reason in the market, there's a perception that Uber is going to grow. And it is growing. But to get to where you're going to be valued at $100 billion, there has to be some path to meaningful profits. And I don't see that they're ever going to achieve meaningful profits. When I talk about Tesla, we're talking about massive growth in vehicle production, improvements in margins. Tesla's already profitable. And then the robotaxi scenario creates massive profits. I just don't see the Uber profit story. Again, I could be wrong. This is not professional investment advice. You can get other opinions about this, but for some reason, Uber's trading at this really high level. Both Uber and Lyft went up substantially in 2020, and I don't know why. I don't fully understand it. Maybe I'm missing something. But the problem that I see is they're not profitable already, and the revenue is growing. But once robotaxis come along, their revenue growth starts dropping and they start losing even more. And I just don't see how it goes forward. So here's what I did. I bought 20 contracts for Uber at $1.35 per option, going out to the 20th of January in 2023, about 2 years away, with a strike price of $20. What this means is on 20th of January 2023, I have the right to sell, each contract is 100 shares. So I have the right to sell 2,000 shares of Uber at $20 a share. If Uber goes to zero, I make about $40,000. I'm betting $2,700. That was my rough cost for buying these 20 contracts. And if it goes to zero, I basically buy the stock for zero and I sell it for $20 a share. I make $20 a share minus the $2,700 I spent to buy these options. Just to be clear, I tried to buy 100 options at this price, and I was only able to fill 20. And then when I looked this morning, the rest of the day it didn't get filled. I looked this morning, the price was much higher, and I decided not to buy more, and I looked at Lyft. So this morning I bought Lyft, same basic deal. I paid 79 cents, and the strike price is $12.50 a share. And I bought 80 contracts, so I spent more. I made a little bit more than double the bet. And you can see at the bottom the maximum return. If Lyft goes to zero, I make basically $93,000. And you can see the break even here is $11 a share. The break even price on Uber is $18.65 a share. So if it goes down to $18.65 on January 20th, 2023, I buy the stock at $18.65, I sell it at $20, and I break even. If the price is below $18.65 a share on Uber, I make money. If it's above $18.65 a share, I lose money. If it's above $20 a share, I lost it all. I lost all $2,700. Same basic idea with Lyft. If the price on January 20th, 2023 is $11.70 a share, I buy the stock for that price, I sell it for the $12.50, and I break even. If the price is less than $11.70 a share, I made money. If the price is above $12.50, I lost it all. If it goes to zero, I make a ridiculous amount of money. And I'm basically playing a bet. I believe that Uber and Lyft have no future, and I believe that by January 20th, 2023, the market will see that, and they will be worth close to zero, and they may be worth zero completely. Now, one of the questions I had about this, or I should say two of the questions I had about this were, what happens if Uber goes bankrupt or Lyft goes bankrupt before January 20th, 23? The other question was, what happens if somebody buys them? What happens if somebody comes from outside, another company decides to buy Uber or buy Lyft? So for the first question, if they go bankrupt, I get the windfall early. Whenever they file for bankruptcy, I basically cash in my options and I get everything. I get the $90,000 in the case of Lyft or the $40,000 in the case of Uber. If someone comes along and buys Uber, it matters what price they pay to get Uber. If they pay more than $20 a share, I lose everything. If they buy Uber for $10 a share, I make a lot of money. Same thing with Lyft. If they buy it for more than $12.50 a share, I lose everything. If they buy it for less than $11 a share, I'm making significant money. Whenever you play a game like this, there's always a risk of something you didn't see. And I'm telling you right now, I think I see it, but I don't know. I am not a professional investment advisor. It's my first time buying options. I'm dipping my toes in the water. I just feel like I see something here. I don't see how Uber and Lyft survive the world of robotaxi. And like I said, maybe I just don't see it. Doesn't mean it's not true. Remember, it's not about you. It's not about me. I'm wearing the It's Not About You t-shirt. Check the description below for a link to the t-shirts. The one thing I want to be clear about is I don't like the idea of short-term trading. I bought options that are dated out 2 years. I don't feel comfortable making judgments on what's likely to happen in the market next week, next month, or even in the next 3 to 6 months. Markets are very volatile. It's very hard to predict what stocks are going to do in the short term. I think it's easier to predict what's going to happen in the long term. And you do pay more for options going further out in some cases. I find buying options that are priced further out, 2 years out, I'm more comfortable with that rather than trying to get involved in short-term timing things, because I just don't feel comfortable with short-term timing with that kind of game. So let me know what you think. Please let me know in the comments below. Let's have a conversation about this. What do you think about long-term options? What do you think about the idea of shorting a company? Because this is an effect. It's not the same as shorting because it doesn't have the same downward pressure on the stock. It doesn't have the same negative impact on the company, but it has some. So what do you think about that? What do you think about it from an ethical perspective as an investor? What do you think about it as a strategy for making money as an investor? Really, what I like to do is I like to buy stock in companies I believe in to support them. But I just saw this and I wanted to try this to see what happened. So if you like this video, please check out some of my other videos. Please, of course, support this channel on Patreon, links below. Please check out the t-shirts. There's a link to the t-shirts in the description below. And thank you so much for watching.